electric.
Hi everyone, welcome back for another energy related video. It's the 1st of March today, Friday. I thought I'd get this video out straight away to cover how our energy and solar generation has been for the month of February 2024. It has been a crazy month. Lots of highs, lots of lows, lots of weirdness. There's lots to share with you and it's all in the data. No, there's no shock and awful looking thumbnails telling you how dramatic it is and how awful solar panels are and all those sort of things. I don't need any shocking stories to generate some clickbait, etc. We don't need that. What we've got here is an excellent story of going electric, generating your own energy, having an element of energy independence, not being worried at all about energy bills, but following the data, understanding our usage, understanding how we can optimize things, and understanding where our energy gets used and how our money gets spent and what are the best things to do. So if I explain what's best for me, then hopefully you can use that information in deciding what's best for you. So anyway, let's get on with the information. Let's get into the data. What has been going on and why is it so crazy? Let's start with grid import. 611.9 kilowatt hours. Now, to put that into perspective, let's have a look at a couple of previous months worth of import. February last year, 133 kilowatt hours. February the year before, 279 kilowatt hours. And February 2021, just 83 kilowatt hours. Compared to January this year, 608 kilowatt hours. February is the first time ever we consumed more energy in February than we did in January. Now, I know I'm supposed to be importing more energy from the grid because I'm now favouring export. So the idea is I import more from the grid at cheap rate and then I can export more of my solar for more money and actually make a profit. So I know that's supposed to happen, but surely this number 611, surely there's more to it than that. So let's have a look. Export for February then, 195.9 kilowatt hours. So let's compare that to previous Februaries. As expected, we exported more, yes, 195 instead of, 34, 59, etc. So we exported 130 to 140 kilowatt hours more this month. But 130 to 140 kilowatt hours isn't the same as the extra that we imported, which was more like 300 to 500 kilowatt hours. So at some point in this analysis, we need to have a look and try and find that energy. But before we do, how do these numbers equate monetarily? Octopus Energy have billed me £61.65, but that's not for the calendar month of February. That's from the 27th of January through to the 28th of February, so not a complete month. If I look at the calendar month, it should be £58.20. But let's use their higher number, £61.65, less the £30.69 that they've paid me for exported electricity at 15 pence a kilowatt hour. That gives me £30.96. But then we need to take off the Octa points for February that I've redeemed. In February, we accumulated 14,532 Octa points, and they're worth £18.16. So that's for savings sessions, that's for their competitions, that's for referrals, that's for all sorts of things that they give you Octa points for. Deduct the £18.16 and that leaves us with an energy bill for the month of February of £12.80, including the standing charge. Not too bad. So if you notice from previous months, the amount we're paying as an energy for each month is coming down and down and down. It won't be long, hopefully March, and we'll have a net zero or a credit bill. But as you can see from this, I got another referral reward, so thank you very much. And that means I'm in credit this month already. The other thing that's been going on with Octopus Energy this month for me is that we've had a couple of instances where meter readings haven't come through on time. Now that does happen occasionally and then they come through eventually, or you can give Octopus a nudge and the energy data comes through. But on this occasion, these lapses, the missing information, occurred at the billing period. So just when they're about to produce my bill on the 27th of February, there was some missing data. So that's going to affect my bill because they can't bill me for the actual time slots. So they have to bill me the standard variable rate, the one that's 3 or 4 times higher than the 7.5 pence. Not very happy. Moving on then to solar production, that was 329 kilowatt hours for February. So that's good news. It was more than January. January was only 300 kilowatt hours, but 329 kilowatt hours, that's actually the lowest, the smallest amount of solar generation we've had in February ever from when we installed the system. The highest day was the 24th of February when we generated 32.79 kilowatt hours, which is great news. But if you look at the day-by-day data, there's only 5 days where we had really decent sunshine. And then there's 9 days where we had more than 10 kilowatt hours. All of the rest of February were below 10 kilowatt hours. And that was the problem. There were so many rainy days, so many dull days, and just those 5 really sunny days. That's all we had. And it totaled 329 kilowatt hours. Comparing other Februaries, we can see how low this year was. So if we just look at the dark blue, for example, that's our 3.9 kilowatt array, 177 kilowatt hours. Compared to all of the other years that we've had from 2019, it's significantly lower than where we are. And it's only because we've got the other 2 arrays that we've got up to a decent level of 320 kilowatt hours. The green, that's the solar edge array, 97.3 kilowatt hours, again, significantly lower, and only 55 kilowatt hours from those east-facing gable panels and the 3 panels on my garage roof. So that array, that's just starting to come into its own now. So because the sun is rising more in the east and it's rising sooner in the morning now, those east-facing panels are gradually going to get better every single day. Well, when the sun shines anyway. If I take a quick look at the spreadsheet that I keep, I can now see how well the panels are actually doing. So for January and February, there's the numbers for the different arrays that I have, totaling 300 and 329 kilowatt hours for the 2 months. But across the other side of the page, on the right-hand side, we've got 57.47% last month and 54.97% this month. Those percentages are the relationship between the solar edge array that I have, the 2.4 kilowatt array, and the 3.9 kilowatt array. I track that because solar edge doesn't work very well in low light conditions, or not for our array anyway. So proportionally, for the amount of panels that we've got in February, we only generated 54% equivalency. In January, it was 57, so we've actually done worse on the solar edge array this month. That's the first thing that's of interest. The next 3 numbers across for the 3.9 kilowatt array, 2.9 kilowatt array, and 2.4 kilowatt array, those numbers underneath, those are the number of kilowatt hours per kilowatt of solar panels installed. Now, as you can see in the middle one, 15.52 last month, 18.97 this month. That's for my east-facing gable panels. That's how low they are by comparison to the other 2 arrays. They're not generating anywhere near the amount of kilowatt hours compared to the amount of kilowatt total maximum power of panels that we have installed. And that's because they're not in the optimum angles and the optimum orientations, etc. But the numbers for the 3.9 kilowatt array and the Solar Edge 2.4 kilowatt array have gone up from 41% to 45% for our solis inverter, that's the 3.68 kilowatt inverter, and the Solar Edge array has gone up from 38 to 40 kilowatt hours generated per kilowatt of solar panels installed. So not bad. February was better. The sunlight is getting better. The sun is still rising higher in the sky like it does every other year. It's just that this February, there was so much damned rain. This chart's interesting if you can actually understand it, so it's worth explaining what it's showing. It's showing energy usage, our consumption, but it's also showing the solar values. So the solar is the amount of the purple that we exported plus the yellow that we consumed. That's the amount of solar. So those 2 colors together across the 0 line make up how much solar we've got. And you can see the export in purple was a lot more on those 5 days where we had 5 really sunny days. So the blue above, that's the amount we consumed from the grid. So we can see we had 1 really high consumption day up to 50 kilowatt hours, including a little bit of solar and most of it from the grid. But we can really see my strategy here, where most of the consumption that we have is coming from the grid, and only a little, the base load, is coming from solar, the yellow. I really like this chart though, showing our solar generation going back to January 2021, broken down by the 3 arrays that we have. And what it keeps reminding me is how much more solar we've got to go. If you look on the right hand side at 2024, you see how low we are at 300 and 320 kilowatt hours, but how much more we've got to go, up to 1200 kilowatt hours in the peak of summer that we've had over the last couple of years. So this chart is nice and encouraging. Very quickly, here's the detailed breakdown by array. Solar Edge 97.3 kilowatt hours. I'm really not sure what this Solar Edge app is doing these days. They keep changing it, and the graphs and the data are just looking more and more useless all the time. I just don't use the Solar Edge app anymore. The Solis Cloud app changed recently as well over the last couple of months, and yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. I much preferred the old one. I think I'm just getting old where I like the old stuff, and I don't like it when people make changes. They don't seem to improve it very much. Well, Victron actually do. Their software seems to improve. Anyway, the 3.9 kilowatt array with a 3.68 kilowatt inverter, Solis, 177 kilowatt hours. There's the daily breakdown. And then the daily breakdown for the third array, just 55 kilowatt hours. That's our 2.5 kilowatt inverter with about 2.9 kilowatts of solar panels, which only ever peaks at about 1.4 kilowatts in the peak of summer. Moving on then, away from solar generation to how we used our energy. Where did it all go? And this is the Home Assistant chart that I have that shows the breakdown by individual device. So this is data coming from the My Energy portal, the Mixergy portal, the Toshiba portal, the Shelly portal showing the Shelly power monitors, and the Casa API as well, showing the Casa smart plugs we have. That's where we get all this data from. Starting at the top, the biggest user of resources, 287.54 kilowatt hours. That's the Zappi charging our electric cars. Then our main heating source, Toshiba air conditioning units, 126 kilowatt hours. The My Energy Eddy device, 66.35 kilowatt hours. That's heating hot water on cheap rate energy overnight. The main kitchen sockets, that's a circuit breaker on the main fuse board, 50.53 kilowatt hours for the kitchen, including the oven. The cloakroom was the next biggest heating resource, 33.57 kilowatt hours, followed by our television, 17 kilowatt hours. So now we're getting to smaller level devices. The oven and hob, that's actually just the hob. I need to change that description. That's just the main hob, 13.15 kilowatt hours. The cloakroom infrared heater is now less than it is other months, 12.51. It's about half what we have. We've started to turn it off somewhat now. It's been a bit milder. The ensuite radiator, 11.99, same again. It's less than it normally is. The Internet Home Assistant hub, and that's the My Energy hub as well. All of those things together, 10.47 kilowatt hours. Then the dehumidifier, just 9 kilowatt hours for the month of February. With the heating off somewhat, we've used the dehumidifier a little bit more. There's some Mixergy heating as well, using the immersion side of the Mixergy heater, just 4 kilowatt hours. That was when we did the cleanse of the tank. This My Energy chart breaks it down a little bit more simply into three components: 66.4 kilowatt hours for hot water, 287.5 kilowatt hours for EV charging via the Zappi, and everything else in the house, including charging the home battery, 428.3 kilowatt hours. That home number includes our heating, as I've said before. So the Toshiba air conditioning units, the air-to-air heat pump system, this is monitored via the Shelly device. And what we can see here in blue is the number of kilowatt hours that it's used over the month on a day-by-day basis. And the yellow line is what we consumed last month. So it's a monthly comparison. Now, as you can see in the middle of the month there, we had a mild part to February. I actually turned the air-to-air heating system off for quite a period of time, but I will confess I cheated and I used some logs on our wood burner. So something's not making sense, because actually I conserved some energy. I didn't use the heating system for nearly 2 weeks in the middle of February there, and we still used that much energy. We still imported a record 611 kilowatt hours. And yes, I do track how many logs I burn, and I actually update those numbers onto a spreadsheet. So this chart is showing me the number of logs I'm burning last year over on the left-hand side. Then the gap in the middle is the summer period where we're not using any of the logs on the fire. And the right-hand side is this year, this winter. And as you can see, there's some darker green splodges. Basically, I am using less logs in total over the year, but there does appear to be a couple of instances where I've used the log burner for several days in a row, and I didn't do that as much last year. I don't normally show you this chart on my monthly updates because it's a little bit detailed, and I think some of the details are a little bit small on this graph. But basically, it's every heating device that we have, including the number of logs, represented in different colours and showing over a 2-year period. So again, this is from September 2002 all the way through to current, and it's showing me basically how much heating we're using. And I can see we've got a reasonably consistent amount of heating use difference between this winter and last winter, but the devices we're using are slightly different. The infrared cloakroom heater is definitely getting used more in the darker blue at the bottom. And if you recall from last month's data, then basically I did a pie chart of this as well, and it was showing that the Toshiba air-to-air heating devices are using about 2/3 of our heating consumption, and the other third is going to the other small radiators. This is the last solar chart I'll show you. It's my energy data coming via Home Assistant. And I like this chart because it's showing the peak usage. It's showing the power coming from our solar arrays. And as it's peaking above 6 kilowatts in January and early February, I think that's about 6.3 kilowatts it's peaking at. You can see those top lines are just increasing slightly. And yes, now in February, I've seen a peak of 6.8 kilowatts. So it's nice. The sun is rising. The sun is getting higher in the sky. More solar energy. Moving on to water usage, this is cold water usage, 4,243 litres used. More than January, which I expected because we've been rinsing down the cars after driving them in wet, muddy conditions, but still good, still less than other months, so I'm very happy with that. Anglian Water give me this nice little comparison to see how I'm doing compared to my peers. Top 20% efficient homes in my area with similar number of people in the house as well, and similar homes. 6.8 cubic meters for other people, 3.5 for us. We're doing so well, much better than even the top 20% efficient homes. So yeah, water usage, we're obviously very dirty people. We don't wash a lot. And the last chart for this month is from the Mixergy hot water tank that we have, showing how many litres of hot water we've used. 1,421, a nice reduction from January. So again, hot and cold water, we're not using very much. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. Hope there's some useful information for you. As always, hope what we're doing here, the story of going electric and explaining everything through the data each month, is helping you consider what you can do going electric yourselves. Whether it's installing solar panels, adding a battery, or changing your heating system to electric, all of those things are covered in my videos. And the stats here just keep proving month after month that it really is worth doing. So although I'm whinging and moaning about a couple of pounds worth of losses here or there, the fact our bills are so low really does excite me. It makes me feel privileged that I made a good decision, that my thoughts about going electric have proved to be true. It is a strategy. Get rid of all of your oil, gas and other forms of energy usage and consolidate them all to electric. Go electric. And then generate your own, and then you've got energy independence. Okay, if there's a power cut, if the sun doesn't shine, all those sort of things, you can't totally be off-grid, but that's what the grid's there to support you. And I'm definitely feeling at the moment there's a better relationship with the grid. They're there supporting me when I need energy from them, and I'm there supporting them when they need it as well. Octopus saving sessions are working brilliantly. I like contributing. I like giving some of our energy. It's not an effort. It doesn't take any energy or thought from ourselves other than, oh, we're in the saving session, so let's not do anything extra, but we can sit and listen to the radio, we can sit and watch television, we've got lights on, we're living normally. The heating, yeah, the heating can go off for half an hour or an hour, that doesn't matter, and therefore we can use less energy and we can export 10 or 20% from our battery. I really do like that contribution to the grid. So I think this story and how it's evolving and how it's changing with everything going electric, and then the change between self-consumption when we're using our own solar energy and now exporting to the grid and how that's changing with tariffs. I think the story is great, and what we're moving on from, as well as going electric, create a flexible system, because we don't know what's going to be happening in the next 5, 10, 15 years. So you need flexibility with your system to be able to do what you want. And there's not much more than putting energy out or bringing energy in. You don't really need to be doing much more. You're either consuming it or you're giving it away, selling it, etc., trading energy and making the most of the energy you generate, in whichever way that is. Thanks again for watching. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the videos. Lots more to come, hopefully. And see you again for the next update. There are a few updates that I need to give you. I'm getting a little bit behind with updates. Some things have happened and gone past, but I haven't shared yet. So I'll try to get those done. Thanks again. See you again soon. Bye for now.